Crime continues to surge across America. We show you these numbers, and they're never going in the other direction. Overall crime in Los Angeles is up by 11%, in Chicago 35%. New York City, violent crime in particular, is up 41%. Homicides are on the rise in some cities like Milwaukee, where people are facing a stunning 100% increase in homicides. Republicans have been pressing the Attorney General Merrick Garland to do something, take action.
I think the Justice Department is losing. I think you're losing on crime.
There is no one solution fits all that the federal government can suggest to state and local law enforcement. I think it's a resource allocation issue for each local police department.
Is that what we're supposed to tell the mothers of those kids getting killed in Chicago? You don't understand. It's a resource allocation issue.
No.
Big city police departments facing desperate staffing shortages, and that's also the case for smaller cities now. So this isn't kind of a two-wave thing. The big cities first, and now everybody follows. In Independence, Missouri, for example, one officer says 38 vacancies on the force is the most he can remember in 20 years on the job. New Haven, Connecticut, a captain there says they're at the lowest staffing level they have ever had. Joe Gamaldi, former NYPD officer, now vice president of the Fraternal Order of Police. Joe, tell me the situation for the numbers of police officers now, those vacancies.
Well, I'll tell you, Harris, I've never seen it this bad in my 17 years as a police officer. A recent study just came out that said retirements are up 45%, resignations are up 20%, and recruitment is completely in the tank. We saw an 83% reductions in Chicago applications, a 90% reduction in applications in New Jersey. And I mean, do you really blame anyone? I mean, law enforcement has been denigrated and demonized for the better part of a decade. And Harris, you've been at the forefront of this. Violence against law enforcement is through the roof. I'm in Washington, D.C. right now for our Police Week ceremonies, and 563 officers are going to be added to that monument. That is 563 families that have been ripped apart by tragedy. And last year was the deadliest year for law enforcement, intentional homicides in the last 20 years, and it's not slowing down. In 2022 already, we've had 132 police officers shot in this country. That's a 40% increase over last year, which was historic numbers. So do you really blame anyone for saying, I don't want to be a police officer after all this? And here's the rub. We have academics and politicians actually trying to convince people that there is no war on cops right now. Well, excuse me, but I ride those streets every single night, and if you want to, you can take a seat next to me, do a ride along, and I'll show you just how dangerous it is.
I might take you up on that, actually.
You're more than welcome to, Harris.
Yeah, let's do it, because you and I haven't been together in a while, and it's time to revisit. Top House Republicans are trying to do what you're talking about, Joe. They're trying to put together a plan to push law enforcement-friendly legislation. The final list of priorities, shared exclusively with Fox News Digital. That list includes ensuring resourcing and funding for law enforcement, addressing and tackling recruitment issues, taking action to stop violence against officers, and penalizing progressive prosecutors. That is a segment of the conversation that you don't often hear police officers talk about because, well, quite frankly, they're too busy fighting crime. But certainly they also see the swinging door by some of these liberal districts' attorneys.
Well, absolutely, Harris. You know, and we certainly appreciate additional funding. That's going to, it's going to help us solve the problem. But police officers are only one component of the criminal justice system. We need to make sure that these, I joke to even call them district attorneys because I don't really know what they are. But, they're jokes. Larry Krasner, Marilyn Mosby, George Gaston, who are just letting these violent criminals out over and over again. These inept judges who are just giving pinky promise PR bonds left and right. I mean, we're going to go out there and we're going to catch these violent criminals, Harris. But if they're letting them out the back door before we're even done with the paperwork, it's not really going to do a whole hell of a lot of good. And I just don't understand what we're doing here. I mean, I don't have any better way to put it than to tell you, Harris, our criminal justice system is fundamentally broken in this country. And it's been broken by woke politicians and their horrific policies. And the blood is on their hands.
Joe Gamaldi, wow. Thank you very much. And I will see you on the passenger side of that squad, and we can ride together. Appreciate you in Focus.
We're going to do it.